I just want to demonstrate the interaction between a very simple web server and my Chrome browser. So in principle, I've got a browser running on my machine, and I want to connect to a web server, which in principle could be running anywhere in the world. For example, in Moscow or St. Petersburg or wherever. So first thing I'm going to do is to uh, run the server, and I want you to notice that it's called Simple Web Server. It's class. There is a main method as per usual, um, and there's some sort of fairly hard-working code in between. And part of the code involves the creation of believe it or not, a thread object. Because I want this system, I think I want this system to be multi-threaded to an extent. So we'll investigate threads later on in the course, but at the moment, all I'm going to do is to run the server, and um, so it tells me that the server's been initialized to port 80. In other words, it's looking at port 80, and it's just simply waiting for a connection to take place, or a request for a connection to take place. And we spent the last session taking a very serious look at the three-way handshake and the creation of a TCP connection by means of the creation of a socket, if you remember. So if a client wants to create a socket, all it needs to do is to specify the server's IP address and the port number that you want to talk to the server on. And I think that, no, I'm sorry, when you create a socket, yes, you're going to specify port 80 because that's the communication port that you want to use. Okay, so um, what I'm now going to do is to slightly uh, diversify in the sense that I want to show you the running of a browser. And this is a Chrome browser, and I'm going to create a new page, and I'm going to give you the address 127.127.0.0.1 port 80. So let me just write the 80 in again there. So I want to connect to this remote machine, allegedly remote machine. It's actually this machine on port 80, so it's colon 80. And the default IP address for my laptop is 127.0.0.1. So let's see what happens if I try and use the browser to make the connection. So press return, and I get a very simple message back from the server. Hello, September starters, you've just woken this very tired server up. And a bit of misinformation, there seems to be a lot of it in the last couple of months. I'm currently transmitting from dfd.dn.finland. And that's all I really wanted to say, but the takeaway message is that presumably the browser is making a connection with this machine with the IP address of 127.0.0 port 80. Well, the port 80's disappeared, but and on the server side, as we've seen, there'll be the creation of a special sort of socket, a server socket, which is listening to that same port that we want to connect to. So I'm going to finish there. It hasn't taken very long to watch, so I'll now put